We are back with the Screen Team. We've got Tanika on the show. We've done a lot of great movie reviews so far. We've done Breakfast at Tiffany's, which is awesome, only because it has Audrey Hepburn in it.
Yes, that was a great one.
It was a great one. We just got done doing Gone with the Wind, which is hugely epic.
Yes, it is.
Now we're finishing up with a movie called In the Heart of the Sea, right?
Yes.
And this is a movie based on a book.
Yes.
About a story of a real life event, correct?
Moby Dick. Yes.
But Moby Dick isn't real, but the story it's based on is real. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I know it's very strange. Okay, so
right.
I will try to get through this because it gets a little confusing.
Okay.
But in the movie, it starts out with the author of Moby Dick, and that is Herman Melville, and he goes around and he's interviewing men that were on the Essex, which is the original ship that the whale attacked and it sunk. And they were out at sea for 90 days, and they did some atrocious things that they had to go through in those 90 days, being these little tiny ships trying to survive. So he went around trying to ask different people what they went through.
The story, basically.
Yeah, so that's where the story, and then at the end, he ends up, writing, the famous line from the thing, my name is Ismail, he ends up writing that. And so you look through that, through his eyes. But how this book and how this movie came about was, this is a man who lives in Nantucket. This is Nathaniel Philbrick, and he lives in Nantucket, and he started studying about the original Essex, about what happened, and about the cover-up that they try to do about saying there wasn't a whale, because, that was the livelihood back in the 1700s, back in the 1800s, was getting these whales.
Right.
And so there was this big cover-up about the whale and everything. So him living there, he studied this. And then he realized that, that even though he wrote Moby Dick about this, it really didn't capture the actual story, because Melville actually wrote Moby Dick about just hearing about the story. He never went there until after he wrote the book. And some of the characters' names that he used were people that lived in the town, but they were not the ones that were on the actual ship. Does that make sense? I told you it gets a little confusing with the whole Smithsonian, but In the Heart of the Sea is all from the Smithsonian's archives.
Okay.
So he gets everything from the archives for the Smithsonian, and I think he ends up working for the Smithsonian after this.
Okay.
But so he writes all of this, and it's based in New England, and then it's the winter of 1820. And that's when the Essex actually sailed out, and then it ended up having the attack with the whale. And so many accounts, they actually said that the whale had human-like senses, that it actually followed them to areas, because in the diary and the logs, they actually talked about spotting the whale in the South Pacific, and spotting the whale in another area, And it's fascinating once you realize that that's based on a true story. I think it makes the movie even bigger. So
what did you think about the movie? What were your thoughts? Did you like it?
I liked the movie, and I thought the casting was excellent. I didn't figure out that the young boy that was in it, that he's going to be Spider-Man. Tom Holland? He's the next Spider-Man. So
did you see him in Civil War?
Yes, I did.
He was amazing in that movie.
I was really impressed.
Yeah. What did you think about Chris Hemsworth? So, because I'm interested, because I got to watch the first 20 minutes of this movie, and then my DVD went kaput. So I have no idea. I can't really speak if this is a great movie or not. But one thing I thought was interesting, I like Chris Hemsworth. I think he's a great actor. He's got a great look. But the little bit that I did see, his accent was in and out, man.
I had a hard time with that too, because I didn't think it was honestly New England accent, and it was almost like he was trying to be Boston, but he was trying to be, the Bronx, or trying to be, it was not true to one section. It kind of, I don't know. I even heard some Southern in there. I swear I did.
Yeah. So during the time at sea, do you get to see the whale at all?
Yes, you do.
You do?
Yeah.
How is that? I mean, I'm assuming it's CGI, right?
Yeah, it's lifelike. They actually built the ship inside of one of the warehouses, and then I think it was part of the warehouse, and then it was outside. But they had the huge. It was football stadiums. It was like 2 football stadiums that they did of water, and then they had the ship there, and they had the actual land, and then they would cover up the back of the land and do green screen, where all the buildings were, and then they would do the ship there, and it would rock back and forth, and that's how they did a lot of the filming.
Cool.
I was just fascinated. I couldn't tell. I'm sure in 10, 15 years we can look back on this and say, oh, I definitely see where the CGI is. But I think it was so well done that you can't really tell the CGI. And the whale, you were so into it. Like my best friend, she saw it with her husband, and they never grabbed their phones. They were so into it. And she's like, I'll never go on a cruise. But
I tell you what,
I thought it was beautiful.
The 20 minutes that I saw of it, I was interested in it. I wanted to see how it shaped up, but I didn't have time to rent it again before we did our review. But it definitely looked interesting, so I would definitely say it's worth a watch for sure.
Especially, when you get to parts of it, it's going to be. It's not something for kids.
Okay.
It's definitely for adults because they face things about killing each other, cannibalism, surviving, and who really is better class and who's not. I mean, it deals with so many aspects that we see, in society today.
Yeah.
And when I look at how the captain was about this ship, about how stubborn he was about doing certain things, and knowing that Moby Dick was one of the favorite books of the captain of the Titanic, it's like, why didn't he know? He did the exact same thing. And you look at it, you're going, history repeats itself.
All the time, doesn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it crazy how that works?
I just thought that was fascinating that I found a link out of those two.
So do you have to like Moby Dick to like this movie?
No.
Okay.
No. If you're scared of water, I wouldn't watch it. But, but that's really it. I mean, it's a fascinating, beautiful. It really is beautiful.
Well, Tanika, this has been a great show. We've done a lot of just great classic book movies that were turned into great movies.
Yes.
So I appreciate you being on the show. You're going to be taking some time off this summer to go visit family and stuff. So hopefully we'll be seeing you again this fall, doing some more movie reviews for us. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
We'll be back again next Saturday. We've got a huge hour-long show. We've got Sean on the show. We'll be doing a lot of Best Picture movies like Spotlight, also The Big Short. We'll be doing the brand new X-Men Apocalypse movie, and I've got Jake and Kadam coming in the studio. We're going to be reviewing all 3 of the Star Wars prequel movies. That is coming your way next Saturday at 6 p.m. For Tanika and Chris, we are the Screen Team on today's Talk, KWOC.